RX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster. You know, I don't know, I don't care if you travel with biscuits, you travel to biscuits, how you define your biscuit, whether you love biscuit weeks on Great British Bake Off or biscuit-based discussions on the Mandalorian. And if you, what do you wonder, what do you do if you get crumbs in your helmet or your helm? I mean, holy cow. I guess a good thing, that's why, you know what especially in zero gravity, with artificial gravity, you know, or, I mean, I guess it depends on the humidity level within the helm as well. Maybe there's a fan, but probably, you don't want a lot of crumbs in there. And maybe you'd say, like if you were the Mandalorian, you'd say, I'm going to wash those biscuit crumbs right out of my hair. But you probably wouldn't. But you might. But if you're saying, what is this person talking? I thought this was a sleep podcast. It is, and I totally understand. This is a show. It does take a couple times to get used to. I'm here to be your friend at first, to welcome you in. And then to take your mind off of stuff so you could fall asleep. I'm here to keep you company. And yeah, this show does take a few tries, but the goal is that you deserve a good night's sleep. And you deserve a friend in the deep, dark night to help keep you company. And that a friend you don't need to listen to already. You probably figure, you say, well, I could tell you don't deserve my full attention. And I say, well, we're already on the same page. So I'm glad you're here. What we got coming up, support, so the show comes out twice a week, and then a long, meandering intro. Don't miss out on it. It's meant to ease you into bedtime and kind of introduce what the podcast is, about 15, 20 minutes long. And then we'll talk about season 3, episode 3, chapter 16, 17, 17, 18, chapter 19, I believe. So that'll be good. But even if you don't watch The Mandalorian, don't worry. Holy cow. This one, we'll be in two places, not at once, but two places at different times. But I'm glad you're here. So see how it goes. I really appreciate you coming by, and welcome to Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And here's how I'm able to do it for you for free twice a week. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. I am recording from my car because my apartment flooded, and I don't think I have access to the closet, the climbing closet where I record the show for another week or two. And it's a good reminder. I am dedicated. I love making Sleep With Me. I love being here on a regular basis. I love putting you to sleep. The only way I do it, though, is with listener support. And the listener support has allowed me to not have to worry. Like some of our equipment got damaged. I'm kind of, in transition as far as my living situation goes. But I know I could sit in my car and record and get some stuff done and keep the show going. But I can't keep the show going alone. So if you can afford to support the show, you get value out of the show. You want more Sleep With Me, or you want to interact on Discord, whatever it is, please become a patron. Because with the patrons, if you're listening and you're already a patron or you were in the past, thanks. Because I would not be as calm as I am now if it wasn't for the support of the listeners. Or I wouldn't be making the show. I'd be going into my day job and then coming home and dealing with, not coming home, but whatever. I wouldn't have to worry about a climbing closet or recording in my car. But I love making this show. I love putting you to sleep because I've been there, particularly recently. So flood or no flood, I can't do it without you, but I appreciate all the support. Thank you so much. If you want to support the show, if you want to help keep the show going, please sign up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody. It is time for the Sleepy Supporters. Well, actually, this is probably going to be the former Sleepy Supporter Zone because the Sleepy Supporter Zone just isn't working. And the whole idea of with podcasting is it's kind of an opt-in medium. You know, we get our support from people who support the sponsors or support this show directly. And right now, Sleepy Supporter Zone is a way for me to kind of thank people supporting the sponsors and letting me know about it. And it just isn't working. And that's like just a reality. So I'd love for you to fill out this opt-in by just taking the survey at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors as I try to navigate this. Like, should I get rid of the Sleepy Supporter Zone? Should I change up how we do the show? I don't know. I'm just trying to figure that out. But I did, I have been asking people to fill out that form. So I wanted to thank Lori, who not only let me know what they thought about the show, what they got out of it, but Lori then said, yeah, I'm going to become a patron. So thank you, Lori. I really, really appreciate it. So if you fill out that form, I'll try to thank you here on the Sleepy Supporter Zone, and you get to express your opinions about the show. And yeah, I've had a couple of people, anonymous people, that have let me know their opinions about the show. So it's like, if you got something to get off your chest, or you want to support the show, but you're not in a position to do so, or you say, you know what, I don't want to support the show. Yeah, take the time to support the show just by filling out that form. Thanks so much for opting in to sleep with me. The second part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need right now. And there's links to resources where you could do that right in the show notes, including international resources. It's about being a part of positive change, too. Not just saying Black Lives Matter, not just saying stop API hate, not just saying support Ukraine, but taking action and learning more. And there's also resources in the show notes where you could do that. One of the things we're involved in is building hygiene kits for people experiencing homelessness and supporting the Midnight Mission. It's a large shelter and so much more, offers so many services in downtown Los Angeles to support people experiencing homelessness. So please use that link. There's tons of ways to support it, including if you live in Los Angeles, you could volunteer at the Midnight Mission. You could get involved. You could always just contact me. I can introduce you to people there. Whatever you're into, there's probably a way to be a service to people experiencing homelessness, whether it's in Los Angeles or in your local community. And that's what we're all about. So check it out right in our show notes. And that's the end of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Oh, Mystery Bard, a lot of people help out in this show. Who are they?
Posty poster son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the mystery bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mr. Bard. If you want those sleep phones, Sleep With Me branded sleep phones, different models with Sleep With Me swag on it, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep phones, and use Sleep With Me to get $5 off your order. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. It could be thoughts, things on your mind about the past, present, the future, like thinking thoughts. Could be feelings related to those thoughts, emotions that are there or that seem more prevalent at bedtime. I mean, that's definitely the case for me. It could be physical sensations, changes in time, temperature, routine, schedule. You could have something coming up that you're anticipating. You could be going through something. You could be going somewhere. You could have someone coming to visit. Or it could just be a mystery. How come it's always well, I don't know. Like, it could be baffling. I don't know. For some reason, the word intrigue popped in my head. Thinking about this episode of The Mandalorian, but I don't know. Rarely do I feel like anything, like I don't have, like, usually I'd say my two thoughts about intrigue, just to go off topic really early, like are both aspirational. Like what you'd say, what do you mean aspirational? Let's say I can explain that. One day I'd like to say, intriguing, and mean it and be like, I'd like to get that, it's not quite titillating, but it captures my curiosity in a way that's drawing me in. And one day I say, wow, but it's somewhere in a gray area, right at the edge of my all or nothing thinking. You say, well, that's probably why it's aspirational, because you're going to, or you just thought of a joke about aspirational. It's the first time I've realized, or maybe it's not the first time I realized, are you making a double rear end about me and perspiration? No, I was saying things I aspire to about, I'd say intriguing's one. And then I would love to be like, well, live a life of what I associate with intrigue, but only aspirationally, because it sounds like a lot of work, So that's a little bit about me. You said this is not intriguing. Whatever is, what's a mild version of intrigue? And you'd say mild interest, I guess. Barely noticing. Okay. But not intrigue. I'm not here to be intriguing. But that's something I aspire to outside of the podcast. Maybe I should have been clearer about that. He lives a life of mild intrigue. What does that mean? He talks about intrigue from time to time. Oh, intrigue. It's not intriguing, but I feel like the only way I could say it is intriguing. But it sounds like he more makes an ass out of aspirational than anything else. And I said, did you say the beginning of aspirational twice? And yeah, that's exactly what I did. I just had a pause between it. It was no other separate words. But if there is aspirational, I don't know. I don't, I think that's probably just a word. No, desperation, aspiration, perspiration. So the act of exertion, maybe? Or I don't know. Aspiration, exertion. Anyway, I better move. I better introduce a sleep podcast, huh? Because if you already are not saying intriguing, you're saying something much, much stronger and without intrigue. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you has other sleep podcasts and sleepy stuff. The reason I make the show is because you deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a bedtime you don't have to dread, a bedtime you can feel neutral about, or at least look forward to. And the reason I kind of get silly and go off topic about this stuff is just that, that's the reason why. Because that's like the stuff of the podcast is this kind of goofing around. But to add a little bit of levity to bedtime and say, well, at least I don't know, at least I won't know what that dude's talking about on the sleep podcast, but he'll be talking in a way that's mildly relatable. He's not at all, just like his Nana says, he's the not bad boy. He's not a bad boy, and could never agreed with any imaginary statement more in my life. He's not intriguing either, my Nana probably would say. He lives a life with non-intrigue, and she would agree with those other statements about aspirational too. So, okay. Oh, but what about, why are you here? What am I, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night here. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents, which we already got a couple in there, which was cool. But the point, creaky, dulcet tones means my voice is not traditionally soothing, because I'm more here to be your friend. Just like if you called me, if I was on call, which kind of is how the podcast works anyway. So I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff, not really to be listened to. One of the few podcasts you just kind of, let's be honest, you're not listening to everything like with your full attention anyway. This is a podcast that says, for sure you don't need to do that. Like, this is where that expectation is built in. I mean, other shows it is built in a way where they touch back on a point a couple different times or restate things. I think I learned that from Scott Aukerman, talking about kind of, remember, it's someone's first time listening. But sleep with me, it's just more like, yeah, but this is your first time just barely. The first time you might actually be listening. And that's why it does take 2 or 3 tries to get used to the show. Because your first couple times you might be trying to pay close attention. And then you realize, oh, this person does not deserve my attention. But this time it's a positive statement. So, what else do you need? So I'm just here to kind of, just like a out of focus picture. You say, well, it doesn't look bad, but I'm not going to try to pick out the details right now. So it's a podcast you don't listen to. It also does not put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company while you fall asleep, to be your boar friend, your boar bae, your boar sib, your boar bud, your boar bestie, your neighbor, your boar burr. If you're, on the beaches south of Los Angeles, your boar bra, or anywhere else, and to be your friend in the deep dark night and keep you company while you fall asleep. It just barely keep you engaged. And you say, okay, I can kind of listen to you. I can pretend I'm listening. This is a game I can participate in because it doesn't take a lot of work. You just say, But at first it does take a lot of work because you've probably come to the show with expectations and a bit of frustration. You can't sleep. That's frustrating. Maybe this has been an ongoing thing. So you've tried a bunch of other stuff that hasn't worked. That's why you're here, or it hasn't worked consistently. So that makes sense. And then you say, well, I thought this was a sleep podcast. I thought there would be some sort of chimes, a calm, reasonable person with some sort of guru-like presence, or, someone, you say, I was not expecting creaky dulcet tones. And also, did you know you're misusing the word intrigue? And I don't know if you know what a Latin root is either. I say, you're right. Or I'm willing to guess there's a strong possibility you're correct. I just don't know it. I won't know it till later. So if you have strong things, just give this few tries. I'm not kidding. About 1 million people have told me the first 2 times I listened, I didn't like you, or I didn't get it. I kept waiting for the show to start, or the sleepy stuff to start. And then the third time okay, now I get it. He really is just here to be my friend, keep me company and talk. In a way I can sleep to it, or I could play it all night. Oh, okay. So just kind of see how it goes. Or some people don't listen ever again. And that's why I set up sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. So, what else? Show you don't listen to doesn't put you to sleep, and nobody likes it first try. More good news. Structure the show. The show is structured in a very deliberate way. You can adjust it, but it's just structured this way because it works the best for the most amount of people. And it is pretty adaptable. Like podcasting kind of gives you the ability to be flexible a little bit. So the show starts off with a greeting. Friends of being non-binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you feel seen and welcomed in. And I say something silly. So you say, okay, maybe I could check this show out. Maybe I'll give it a try. Okay. That might be the only experience of you say, this is slightly intriguing. This is different than what I expected. Holy cow, I may be living my but the podcast, we may go quantum right now, because if I'm living my aspirations right now, that's how, thanks, Nana said, exactly, that's how you did it, put the ASS at the start. Oh, okay. Also, if you're new, I have a Nana that lives within me, along with many other parts, but she's there to let me know when I'm off the road, as she wouldn't say, when I'm doing it wrong. That's how she would put it. Okay, but structure the show. So it starts off with a greeting. Then there's support, so the show could be free, or mostly paying for it's optional. If you don't like the ads, you can pay for it. If not, you could just listen for free. And then there's an intro, which is different from the support. And for some reason, it just happens usually like twice a week. Somebody listens to support, they don't like that. And then they can kind of connect the intro and the support together. But the intro is really a show within a show. If you're listening to this, I guess they never hear this part, which is part of the problem. But maybe the second or third try they do. But the reason, the intro goes on and on and on. It's like somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes long. One, to introduce the podcast. Two, for us to have a little time together and see where things go and see how far afield we can go. And then I can try to steer it back to explaining what the podcast is. But also, and this is just what most bedtime stuff I've read about, or bedtime hygiene, whatever you want to call it. It says that having a wind down routine is kind of a big part of it. And that's also been my personal experience. And so for most listeners, there is 2% of people that skip the intro, and about that percentage of people that I'm guessing are asleep. But for most people, the intro is part of their wind down routine. So some people are getting ready for bed. Some listeners are doing other wind down activities, even if it's just making your bed and then getting in it or whatever it is. And then some people are in bed getting comfortable. So the intro is just a break or a transition between being awake and then going to sleep to ease you into bedtime. Kind of a transition phase. So that's the intro. Then there's support between the intro and the show. And then we'll talk about Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 3. Or The Mandalorian, which features Grogu, I know. Not that anyone's corrected me, but I'm just very intimidated by Mandalorian correcting people. So then I say, I know it's not Baby Oso. That's the nickname I have for the child, once known as a child, now known as Grogu. But to me, also Baby Oso, or whatever, 55-year-old Oso. Oh, so different your aging is from me, Baby Oso. That's the only reason I call it toddler. I don't know. That's why I call you Baby Oso. But also I've been trying to, get it because I just don't want to have, if there's ever a time I have, the Mandalorian says his name's Grogu. Okay, sorry about that. But, it's, having a nickname's fun. Like the Mandalorian and Din Djarin. Or maybe that's the wrong thing, but they said that's the name of the show. Oh, okay. Okay, I got you. I know this episode featured people with different names, right? So anyway, so that's the intro, the support. Then you had Mandalorian, then some thank yous at the end. So that's about it. That's why I make the show. That's the structure of the show. I'm really glad you're here. I work really hard. I yearn and I strive. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. But thanks again for coming by. And here's how we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive, where customers who save by switching their home and car save nearly $800 on average. Quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $793 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2021 and May 2022. Potential savings will vary. All right, everybody, Scoots here, and we're talking Season 3, Episode 3, Chapter 19 of The Mandalorian, The Convert. And oh boy, is this, was I talking about in this intro or some other intro about intrigue and intriguing? This is an intriguing title for an episode after you see this episode, at least in my opinion, but, I'm only laughing because it's like delightful. I don't know, just being able to be like, huh, what do they what do they mean? Where's this going? I don't know if I've paid attention to the titles as much. And because I guess I could go back and be like, the child, who's the child, right? You say, well, is the Mandalorian the child? Is Baby Oso the child? So anyway, but this episode, I can't say, I'd say need more information. If I say, who is the convert? I just realized I said, oh, please don't be the covert, because of my dyslexia. But no, the episode is the convert, and, oh yeah, let me hit play on it. Holy moly. This is a full length, like an hour long episode. Or nearly hour-long episode. Starts with, got to get these subtitles up. Starts with a flashback to Werner, And here's a question I had, was, because I can't remember what Werner's fate was. Dr. Pershing, the client, is who Werner played. And then we see towards the end of last season, I forget the officer's name, not Dr. Pershing. Holy cow, let me look it up, actually, because did I say, I didn't say, I did say, holy cow, this Katie O'Brien, Elia Kane, is that the comms officer? But from season 2, I just said this, I don't know, Katie O'Brien's performance was just really, really great. So I'm so glad that Katie's back as whatever comms officer Kane. I mean, that's what they were like, but multiple names in this episode anyway. Okay, but I got to keep playing because, okay, so then the Mandalorian's talking to the armor about, let me get redeemed. Then Bo-Katan, Beskar, planet, superstitions. Let's get to these mines and maybe we'll check these waters. Ancient mythosaur, like, let me get in, let me take a bath, rub. I'm going to rub this apostate right out of my, wash it right out of my hair. Bo-Katan rescues the Mandalorian. We see the mythosaur. And we pick up right where we last left off. I'm going to skip the title things because we picked up right where we last off in this temple. Mandalorian's lying down. Bo-Katan is like staring off thinking. Headlamps are on. At first, there's a good amount of silence with lapping water sounds. Really good. Then cough, cough. Grogu is checking his dad. And I don't know if he did any healing things, but Mandalorian wakes up and makes a couple of noises. Ugh, what happened? And then it says, I am redeemed. And Bo-Katan says, yeah, I saw it. You took a bath in those living waters. You're Mandalorian again. And it says, let's get out of here. Mandalorian wants to get a sample. It puts it in like a cigar case, or what I would associate. I guess it's more of a beaker. Good thing he carries a beaker with him. Or no, more of like a tube. He picks up Baby Oso, and Bo-Katan tries to make casual convo. You see anything down there? Yeah, big chasm I fell in. Didn't think it was deep. It wasn't supposed to be, seismic activity. But you didn't see anything else, like swimming or those gigantic, like fish. What? Like fish? And then Bo-Katan says, never mind. So let's hit the road. Okie dokie. Artichoke. Nobody says that. But Bo-Katan does go look back one last time. And even Bo-Katan's shoulders move. And then we see the ship take off and head out into the, exit the planet's atmosphere. And then we're in space. And Mandalorian says, take me to my ship. I'll be out of your hair. You will forever have my gratitude. Bo-Katan says, I'd invite you in for dinner, but I guess you wouldn't take off your helmet. This is the way. This is the way. Grogu's watching all this, but then Grogu, has a spidey sense, making noise, and then it's lasers on TIE interceptors, not just TIE fighters, interceptors, trying to intercept her. Let's get to Kalevala. And the Mandalorian says, if you get back there, I can hop on my ship. Bo-Katan says, my shields aren't going to hold. So she says, you got to back him off. So Mandalorian goes to the rear defense system and uses that to kind of give him some distance. So where the heck did they come from? I don't know. Imperial warlords? Because you took their ship, right? And they dive in towards the planet. TIE fighters in pursuit 6. I think Mando either already did and they missed it or is able to reduce it by 1. So maybe it was 7. I don't know. Let's see. No, he's still working it right now. Yep, it takes down. Now we're down to 5. And then he says, these are harder than TIE fighters to get. And she said, you're going to do it? He goes, yeah, I'm going to do it. Grogu seals up the egg, the egg pram. Mando gets ready to exit the ship by jetpack. And he does well, you probably don't want to know it. Like he easily transfers to a ship in sleepy terms. Quite a move though. And then he has to do a little bit of a slide. Then a TIE interceptor's coming in for him in a ship. But he does make a fast move into a ship. He takes off. He goes straight up. I've actually used this move in some sort of Star Wars flying game, which I like to do is head as high as I can to get above the action, then dive down. So this, even in a video game, this actually does kind of work. I don't know if I'm necessarily turned around like that, but he goes up, then he goes down, takes out a TIE interceptor, down 4. And he calls Bo-Katan, heading to you. Bo-Katan's doing, since it's a very Scottish Highlands type look, I mean, I'm just guessing. So going through the grass and rocky hills, another TIE fighter goes down, or TIE interceptor. R5 does not like it. But Bo-Katan's just going through the canyons, so kind of classic Star Wars moves, but different atmosphere, a lot more water and green stuff, which is nice. And then Mando comes in. We're down to 2 TIE interceptors now. Thanks for the backup. 2 more. Scoots actually kept correct count. Then they do a little split move. So it reminds me a little bit of Mario Kart, but you'd be on the ground, like the beach Mario Kart, because there's like an arch and stuff, but there's no beach here. So he couldn't do Mario Kart because it's all in the air. Then another one down, and Bo-Katan's like separated and does this move where cutting the engines, flips the wings, does a 180, and then takes the ship out, hits the gas again. They're weightless for a second. Grogu comes out of the pram. RD5 is laid down. Really cool kind of water effects. Then they're flying side by side again. Ooh, close one, eh? Oh, totally. Some waterfalls in the background. I guess Bo-Katan's ship's an antique. Mando's like, yeah, I don't got a scratch. All right, well, let's land and check our ships. Nice job. And, something on scope. Bombers, and they're bombing the castle. And I don't mean BALM. They're not balming the castle with balm. I mean, they could seal it off with, that would be a lot of petroleum jelly, but we'll just pretend that's what happened. They seal off the castle with petroleum jelly, but not in a balming way, in a way that makes the castle inaccessible to anyone. Bo-Katan goes in pursuit of the bombers, but does make sure that one goes and rests. But then Mandalorian's radar says, of course they have an escort, a big escort. This is another mystery that will hopefully be resolved. It'll be interesting to see who's in pursuit of whom. Because then there's a ton of TIE interceptors, too many to just be some warlord. Because, I don't know, what the ships cost, like $1 billion, $2 billion each. But they head out. That's a lot of ships sending jump coordinates to where, don't worry, they'll never find us, except when I make this promise. I've exposed a covert before, but this episode's called The Convert. They jump, and then the episode jumps. First, the title sequence, The Mandalorian, and Chapter 19, The Convert. And then we're on Coruscant, which if you've seen any movies, you kind of know right away. And there's music, there's landing pads, there's towers, there's space traffic, really idealized. Then some sort of opera house type thing, a lot of red carpet. And then we see Katie O'Brien going in. And, talk about the best hair, in the galaxy. But someone's talking about the amnesty program, a voice we also recognize. We see this new kind of uniform, and we see a giant, screen of Dr. Pershing talking about pursuit of knowledge. But I'm going to pause it because I just want to double check this. So Katie O'Brien's sitting down next to an older gentleman, but he's out of focus. I don't believe it's Werner. And I don't know if they know each other. Let's see. They don't acknowledge one another. So it could have just been a convenient seat. Pershing's talking about the past because time has elapsed, and now hoping to work with the New Republic. And now it works behind me. You know, I wanted to work for good. This does have a never let me go kind of sense of what he's talking about. If you've read that book or seen the movie, I haven't seen the movie, but because he gives a little personal story about his mom, his person he admired most, and that's why he dedicated himself. I didn't realize he gives out that piece of information and that Kate O'Brien picks up on it. But again, Omid Abtani is like, his Pershing is really good too, especially this episode does take some stretching, but they talk about cloning and they get into Caminos and then they get into kind of uncomfortable area, going even further than Never Let Me Go. So you say, oh boy, then we're at the opera house, really like a lot of, quick exposition here. Cause this is like clearly the upper crust, and they want to shine. They're like, oh boy, we're so happy to have you, but they don't really seem to care who's in charge because they're in charge really, right? They make fun of the outer rim. This one rich dude's like, oh, I almost got drafted. His wife's like, for the inner empire. Oh, inner empire, New Republic, rebels, whatever. And so you kind of see this disconnect, but they're all encouraging. You deserve the best, man. You're so brave. So glad you're working for us. But I guess in some sense, maybe like a show pony or something. I mean, in the context of the rest of the episode. Then he's in a cab, so he must have just got to the planet recently. Maybe this is his first or second day. And the taxi cab driver's like, hey, I heard you're in the amnesty program. Great job. Totally. Been in Coruscant long? No. Well, it's lovely. You got great stuff here, but Skydome Botanical Gardens. There's blossoms in bloom. So this is a little Windy Marsh trap thing. If you have time, Galactic Museum has got an exhibit, a hyperdrive technology, and take a day trip to the holographic museum of animals, Mantabog of Mollister or something. Oh, here we are. Amnesty housing. Also, at one point, Pershing has to tell the robot to keep its eyes on the road, which is funny, but I'm sure the robot was like, okay, whatever makes you comfortable. So then Pershing goes to this kind of like cement, concrete housing area. And there's 4 people hanging at a picnic table. And they see Pershing. They say, hey, come on over, man. We're just having some cocktails. They're interlocking cocktails. And there's M34. They all have only L52. Is Pershing. Are you new to the program? Yeah, you got the pins. They're hard to hide. Oh, yeah, just transferred from Reintegration Institute. That sounds foreboding. This is amnesty housing, even more foreboding. Also, you have no name, no G27, M40, and G68. And we see that G68 is, she says, doctor. He goes, oh, boy, I know you. And they say, it's okay. Well, we're both on one of Moff Gideon's ships. Yeah, really? No one knew that. Holy cow. Wow. He got away, I heard. No, that's a cover story, really. I heard something else. And Katie O'Brien, I can't remember, G59 or whatever, I don't know, says, yeah, I don't want to think about it anymore. I feel, glad to be rehabilitated. Yeah, we all are. But you get a sense, so they take these interlocking cocktails that are kind of in the same kind of glass you'd put, what are those things called? Citronella candle in, but clear. It does look tasty. Like a lemonade, milky lemonade, but not milky with milk. They say to the Republic or the New Republic, have a seat, man. We're chilling. We're just, a bunch of letters and numbers talking about stuff. This is not bad here. Yes, I was surprised. Not the Empire wouldn't put us in the cement building barracks. And M34. That's, hey, have you seen any sights on Coruscant? And so M34 is Katie O'Brien. Currently, happy to show you around. Okay. And they say these uniforms fit pretty good. And they talk about, I miss being in hyperspace. What do you miss, L52? Feels like it's a setup. And like, oh, no, I don't miss anything. I'm happy to be here. He goes, no, not like, he goes, I mean, like candy or whatever. And he goes, oh, you know what I like is those travel biscuits. He goes, the yellow ones maybe? I don't know. There's certain, yellow travel biscuits. And everybody laughs from the ration packs. Oh, man, wow. I don't think you can get those anywhere here. No. Okay. But I looked at the red ones versus the yellow ones. Travel biscuits. I don't know. And they say, okay, let's drink to that. If you want something dry, we'll listen to G54, when, the jokes. So they kind of laugh. Then Pershing's getting in bed. Kind of with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Coruscant, like type of device. Coruscant is let's read this fact. So Coruscant, okay, now I just rewound it. So they're going, yeah, let's party. Thousands of layers of buildings and skyscrapers cover the surface of Coruscant. It's one of only a handful of city planets called Euconopolis, though it's referred to as the center of the galaxy, and it's not at the center. And then the doorbell rings. Pershing's in a nice robe and PJs, checks himself in the mirror, opens his door, no one's there, ding-dong, biscuit dash, because there's a giant tin of biscuits at his feet. And these travel biscuits do make sense because they're there's probably like 4, so they're part of your rations, right? And they can be breaking into 3 or 4 pieces, and I'm sure they're very dense. Let's see how many pieces. It looks like 4 pieces. But flat enough, you could easily put it in a pocket or something like that. So, again, I would assume 4 of those would be like 1 or 2 days of... if you need it. Okay, then we go to like a bureaucratic office area, but it's very nicely lit, even natural light. L52, Happy Ben, what is that? Okay, I didn't follow all this. So they don't have Mondays there. They have Ben days or something, Bendu Day. And here you go, another set of discs for archives. Saw your talk last night. Interesting stuff. I don't know why they have you working here, cataloging, but, I mean, I don't know. And he goes, I'm happy to do whatever's asked of me for the New Republic. Then a droid bumps into his supervisor, which is weird. But the droid is also delivering discs, but I think they're cataloging the old, like the Rebels or whatever, the Alliance and Empire stuff. And then Pershing goes back to work. Then we have music, and oh boy, do we get some cool stuff. This is like theme park area music. And he's walking through, like, so it's Pershing and Katie O'Brien. Again, I can't, I don't know the characters. They have these glow pops, which are popsicles, because she says, hey, yours is dripping. Because it was like, oh, yours is dripping. And they say, oh, yeah, how are you going? Overwhelming. We see kids. We see a magician. We see neon lights. Then there's a stilt walking, juggling robot. Other signs. Area music, like I said. People talking. People laughing. A big plaza. Vendors selling stuff. And it's pretty cool to be helping here, knowing what we had to overcome to get here. You been to Coruscant? He asks her. He asks, have you been to Coruscant? Yeah, I trained here at the academy. Not much has changed. They took down the cogwheels. I don't know what that means, but, it feels different now. And, we thought we were doing good. They're just talking about the past. Pershing says, yeah, I think about it. All my research went unfinished. And we were close to some breakthroughs. Could have helped a lot of people with that little green. He doesn't bring up Grogu, but when I continue to research here, I don't think it's something New Republic would be interested in. The ethics of cloning are complicated. But if it could help the New Republic, isn't that enough? And you can't just follow orders without thinking for ourselves, can you? You got to trust your guts, which kind of goes against everything the New Republic has been thus far shown to be. Not painted in the greatest picture. Capable people, but we can't do what we can't do what we need to do. You get what I'm saying? So this is very textbook. I got to pause it, I guess. It just because of some of my work experience, been it's one of the trainings I got, even though I don't know if it would serve me. But so this is kind of a textbook situation. And again, I don't know how this is going to play out over the season. But so Katie O'Brien, and I guess I'll point it out as it happens, but I want to set up right now, kind of establishing a really good rapport with Pershing, but also kind of seeing, okay, kind of probing for doubts. And then what you see is a few different tests, which this is like a kind of typical thing of like escalating tests when someone's trying to get you to do something you're not supposed to do. Usually it plays out over a longer period of time than this, but they say, hey, could you do that? I know it's against the rules, but it's just this tiny thing. Could you do it for me? And then as soon as they said, it's not a big deal, or just think about it or whatever, they make it seem it's usually a tiny rule and it's something that's not, it doesn't have any impact on anybody, or seemingly that's the way they make it seem. And like it's no pressure. And then they see if, like you say no, if you believe it when you say no, if you're not sure, or if you say yes. And then again, then you'll escalate each time, kind of encouraging or asking. And that's kind of what we see play out over this episode. To what motivation? Well, we know one of the motivations by the end of the episode, but we can only speculate at what the deeper motivation is, really. I mean, you could, I think we know, but again, like, so it's just just really interesting. And it's really well done. Just because it is so textbook. Like I said, holy cow, this is exactly what you get trained not to do. Is so what happens, they see this big rock, and that's the peak of Umate, the highest mountain on Coruscant, the only piece of the planet on the surface, or the only part of the surface that you can see from the planet, or something like that. He goes, wow, it's wild. And they walk around it. Everybody, it's like the centerpiece, kind of like a sculpture. He's enjoying his popsicle. And she says, we want to touch it? He goes, are we allowed to? Allowed to? Come on, man. Live life. So again, something very inane. And he goes, okay, come on, go for it, man. Just touch the rock. I mean, who cares? And he goes to touch it, and then it's, of course, this droid comes and says, you can't touch the stuff. Katie O'Brien cracks up. He drops his popsicle. So then the droid also says, don't pollute, but that wasn't encouraged. And they don't have a lot of, I guess that droid was there, but you see kind of like some other gaps in the New Republic's oversight of public facilities. Okay, then we jump to a tower with a New Republic sign on it. This is Pershing goes into an interview with the droid about how are things going. You're up to only good, right? You totally believe the New Republic. You maintaining a consistent schedule. You stressed or mad at anybody? Any repression going on? No. Do I seem like the kind of person that would repress anything, he says? And the droid goes, unfortunately, I'm a droid, so I just have to take you at your word for it, plus probably some readings I'm supposed to be doing, but clearly I'm not. Or this is all part of some even bigger underlying mechanism. Hey, by the way, could I do my research for a hobby? The droid says, you did clone research. No, Coruscant Accords, Section 13, Paragraph 7 outlaws it, so no. Any further questions? He's like, no, I guess not. And keep up the good work as part of the amnesty program. And have a great day. So he kind of stands up and door opens. His shoulders are very tense, a little bit more relaxed now. He goes back to housing and makes a face. And Katie O'Brien's kicking it, reading a book, ebook or something. And says, what's up, Doc? No, but that would have been funny. He goes, whoa, we were talking about my research. And it keeps thinking about it now. And I know it's important. They have nice planters. They have planters that are also benches. And I just want to prove, this is for good. And it's very empathetic listening. Yeah, no, sounds like it's important to you, huh? What would you need to do it? Well, not much. Mobile lab station. Yeah, mobile lab station. Yeah, no. Can't, says, okay, but you think this will help the New Republic, right? But you just don't trust that. You're really here to help the New Republic, huh? And Katie O'Brien says, yeah, I could get you a mobile lab station. But we'd have to go outside our designated perimeter. And Pershing says, I can't do that. Says, okay, we'd both go back to the Reintegration Institute if that was the case. Says, look, let me lay this on you. I have a past. I haven't done I'm trying to repair my past for the New Republic. And if things are if this is important as you say, I'm willing to risk it for you and for the New Republic. Kind of that's more or less what it said. There's great focus pull on Pershing. The volleyball set, he goes, no, it's too much of a risk. Focus pull back or focus change. I don't know. You know what? Let's just think about it, huh? Let's think about what's best for doing what's right. And again, kind of leaves Pershing kind of, doesn't have the tools clearly to manage this kind of stuff. Then Pershing's back at work. And again, this is more exposition. Pershing's kind of checking two different monitors, looking at this disc in disbelief. And the supervisor comes by. Hey, L52, what up? Yo, this is like great equipment, brand new. Can't you see this? Well, it's Empire equipment. Yeah, but it's brand new. Yeah, but we could this is why would we do, this is good equipment. Bureaucracy, man. That's what the guy says. We just got to do our jobs because we're decommissioning the Alliance fleet and the Empire fleet. Okay, well, I could send a C-1030 to see if you want to get this equipment. but I don't think they'd grant it for anybody with an amnesty in the amnesty program. Sorry, L52. I know it's not easy, but you're really helping the New Republic by helping us dismantle everything in a way that doesn't make sense, really. And it keeps going around saying, good morning, good morning. And then L52 has a little travel biscuit. Now, I don't see the yellow, like his has a black label, Empire label on it. So I'll have to see later the difference. Then he does another interview. Any resentments, any repression? Oh, no, 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 no. He has to touch his ear, which is a tell. That maybe, I don't know if he's not, because he had done that before. I didn't think about trying to match up when he did it during his speech. But he goes, let me clarify. Our objective is to help the Republic, right? That supersedes everything else. And the robot says it does. So that could be a full setup because that doesn't seem like a very robotic answer. I guess it's a droid and not a robot. But anyway, it says, yeah. He goes, okay. So this is, again, you get to, he's ready to make his own justifications for the action. So he goes to Katie Bryan's room. Let's go do it. Let's do it. Okay. All right. Tomorrow night, let's do it. And he goes back to his room. Then he goes in, he's dressed, it's tomorrow night. He puts his uniform down. He's kind of dressed undercover. And he's got his collar up. He tries to talk to himself in the mirror to tell himself he's doing the right thing. You're helping the New Republic. It's the right thing to do. I mean, I guess this is an overwhelming great portrayal of Pershing as like someone that's just totally lost. Even our first introductions to him. Okay, then we go to a train station. The cool thing is the train station has sound effects from San Francisco art, it sounds like, or close to it. He's nervous, so, like, he's super paranoid. So O'Brien keeps having to say, stay calm, man. Like, take a breath. Don't be paranoid. We're going to be fine. We're doing this for the right reasons. So again, managing him. But I guess the biscuits were the first test. That was the first test. So the second test, I didn't even realize that part. So the biscuits were the first test. I knew there was more than one test. And then they kind of sneak onto the train, which doesn't make sense at first until later. Or they sneak into the station. But again, I guess it makes sense with the overall theme of the New Republic just doesn't have its act together, despite having all this wealth. And they get on a train, and they sit down, and there's another being there, a large being, who Pershing gets nervous around. But then Katie O'Brien goes, Monday, whatever they say, like, anybody know what Kathy says on a day like today? Anybody read Kathy? And the big being does. It just grunts, says, song days, am I right? And I don't know, what, like, got a case of the song days, man. I need some lasagna. And someone says, that's Garfield, which Scooter mixes up Kathy. Oh, those were when newspapers used to have comic strips. That's where those Garfield and Kathy are from. Okay, then we get some really good Coruscant shots. And Pershing looking out the window dreamily, which I can totally relate to. Really cool cityscaping. And how the trains kind of operate. Pershing goes, where are we going, by the way? Disposal yards. The inventory you're cataloging, we're going to check that out. And, Imperial ships will have lab stations. Yeah, they're Imperial, though. Well, not anymore. They're decommissioned. It's just junk. It's going to get thrown away. So that. You're already frustrated about it. We'll bring it back to housing. We'll get to work. And then we get to the kicker. Where do you think I got the biscuits from, dude? Oh, that was the first test. He doesn't even realize it even now. Or I guess he does. Like now she's like, you're in. So no turning back. He slumps down in his seat. O'Brien is clearly having fun. Go through a cool tunnel through a building. And the train kind of heads out of town. And really, I like these like moments that it does stretch out a little bit. So we see, I don't know, it really does set, and then the conductors come on the train. And he says, see, I was like, as a person who overthinks, I totally relate to this character. So we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. And they're checking tickets. So they try to go between cars, but I guess that's not normal, even though the doors are unlocked, because they have to jump between cars. But again, I guess it also is kind of like a part of his symbolic journey. And I mean, I'm being honest. It's not. It's like the New Republic clearly is like not holding it together. So you say, okay, well that kind of makes sense because they're more concerned about these rules. You know, they just don't have their act together. Then they go on another thing. He tries to say Mondays, am I right? And everybody's like, what? His joke, and then Katie Bryant's like, yeah, we'll work on it. But they're trying to get away from the conductors, who are slowly working their way forward. They may have picked up on it because one of the conductors is walking in a determined way. And they're trying to be casual, but they're not. And conductor just keeps going. And they keep going. And again, nobody on a train kind of reacts because they open literally the back of the train and they go out. But I mean, which it kind of establishes one thing about the New Republic or Coruscant is there must be no teenagers or people that drink too much like me because one, the back of the train would be a spot to hang. And so she says, we got to jump off the train. He's like, what? But this whole shipyard, like if there was teenagers or people like myself at any age, we would ruin it. They say, you ruined Coruscant for everybody, man. If I lived there, that's what they would have said. Whatever, 1 trillion people and you ruined it for all of us. Say sorry. But they jump off. And my daughter pointed out on one of her watches that Kate O'Brien knows exactly when to jump off because of the biscuit, excursion. But they jump off the train, and then he starts laughing like, now I'm having a thrill. Dopamine City, man. And so they're both laughing. Holy cow, we're rebelling. And then we see this kind of shipyard, and it's pretty amazing. I did watch this a couple times during the day. My TV doesn't, so I did try to watch it at night. So now I'm really seeing how cool it is. Oh, because it's nighttime when they're doing it, and then the shipyards are dark. And these are just for storage, I guess, because, but yeah, I've never done something like this before. They go to one of the, whatever, Star Destroyers, or I don't know, I think that's what it's called. And, yeah, they're walking on this thing now. He's looking around, see everything. I guess it is slowly being dismantled. Maybe only 9 to 5, though. And they go inside. Oh, no, not now they're getting towards the door. Katie O'Brien's like, see, check it, man. Like, isn't this cool? And opens one of the doors, says there's no guards or nothing. And no, nobody, the ships can't be operated. So no need to go, no teens are allowed in Coruscant, apparently, or people like Scooter, whose dream would be to sneak in there, and no YouTubers who make channels about this that Scooter watches. So, yeah, Scooter came and ruined it for teens, YouTubers, and other future Scooters because he somehow time traveled and peed in the corner of one of the ships and then They banned everybody. So they go on the ship, they turn on some flashlights, which at first I was like, why? But then now seeing it, it's like, oh, well, it doesn't, there's no risk because there's no guards. But yeah, they go through a couple hallways. There's different noises. We even see like some sort of wildlife or robotic wildlife. Oh, more than one. I see another set of a few glowing eyes. A bunch of them. And then they talk about how they were on the same ship together and they never really talked. So sorry I never introduced myself. No need to apologize. It's not how we did things back then. No. And Katie O'Brien stops and says, now it is, though. Reaches out and says, Elliot Kane, communications officer. And he says, Dr. Penn Pershing, scientist. He does say Dr. Penn Pershing, scientist. And they laugh. Nice to meet you. And he just nods. So it's kind of thrilling. But this is like the handshake that seals the deal. And they go into like some sort of lab, turn on the lights. He's like, holy cow, these labs, top of the line. And he gets something that looks like an old, or like a big laser printer, but it's a mobile lab, but it looks the exact same as like a big laser printer. And he checks it to make sure it's got all the equipment. He puts some other stuff in there, or maybe that's just the carrier. I did wonder, I think his plan, you should have brought, like, if you're carrying a giant laser printer, wouldn't it have some sort of Empire labeling on it? But, it doesn't, it's not a problem. And Pershing's packing up, and O'Brien's kind of looking around. Oh, yeah, he's grabbing some tubes. They talk about the past. There is some pain in Katie O'Brien's past. The character, but Elliot Kane or whatever, his past between the Empire and the Academy or whatever. But we don't find anything out about that other than that there is something not great. He grabs the thing. There's some noise, but it's like, oh, it's no big deal. It's just a ship. Don't be paranoid. So then they start to leave, but then they realize very quickly that they're not alone and that there are, first, how do we get back? And then they see people passing by in the hall. It's like, okay, hold on, let's lay low. And, oh boy, we better book it. It's, it's whatever, it's a junkyard dog or whatever. It's not a dog though, but, so they start to run. This is also a thrilling part of when you do this kind of stuff. Not that you ever should, but so then you start running. But the thrill quickly evaporates because they run outside onto a walkway. And as soon as they get a little bit of distance, a spotlight comes from like a drone or a ship. And they say, Dr. Penn Pershing, or no, do they say what do they say? G54? Yeah, L52, you're busted. Raise your hands. Put down the printer and your flashlight. He's breathing heavy. He looks, and then Katie O'Brien steps right in front of him, picks up the printer and the flashlight, and looks at him. Says nothing, just barely nods. Perfect, the face, holy cow, both her faces, man. They say, raise your hands, L52. And he goes, wait a second. What about G54? And then we go to black. Then we cut in, and there's somebody that says, hey, good morning, doctor. Super friendly voice. Yeah, I wasn't trying to, no need. G68 submitted a report. We realize sometimes people have a hard time. Hard time? I was set up. Yeah, adjustment can be difficult. No, this is a mistake. Yeah, it can be hard. You worked for the Empire for a long time. We're going to play some music for you and show you some beautiful images. He goes, no, you're not. And they go, yeah, no, this is a 602 mitigator. Totally help with your rehabilitation. And he goes, it might be a similar device that you've seen before, but different. This is going to soothe your memories of the Empire. You'll see some pleasant colors, hear a buzz, and experience a great sense of relief. And he goes, this isn't the Empire. He goes, this is a healing device. I've been through the treatment myself. I found it quite refreshing. And he goes, I was trying to help the New Republic. And they go, don't worry, this is only going to take a moment, and we'll be here when you wake up. And he goes, this is entrapment. He goes, I was just trying to help clarify things. They take his glasses off because he's got to watch images through a 3D helmet. And he goes, why'd you set me up? Please. They say, don't worry, you're going to feel great. Then we cut to like the observation room. And there's like a technician who says, you've done the right thing, G68. Thank you. And I know this is going to help him. Yeah, it will. You know, some people just don't get it on the first try. You're a credit to this program. That's what the technician says. For every failure, I'm glad we got a success like you. And there's like a little dial. They give him like about 3 clicks of chill energy. He's actually kind of smiling as it shows him images. And they say, shall we? She goes, I'd like to stay and watch. He's my friend of mine. He relapsed, and I care about him. And he goes, of course, the way we do it in the New Republic is total oversight with very little oversight. So you stay here. And it's a great image. Ice cold, man. Holy cow. Katie O'Brien turns on this ice cold, jacks it up to 211. The volume, and Pershing's like, this is a little bit loud for my preferences, and jacks it up to 14, and then reaches in the pocket. Let's see which this biscuit. I want to see this biscuit. It's already unwrapped, but it must be the red biscuit, and takes this ice cold bite of the biscuit. Then the episode goes to black again, and then we see 2 ships come out of hyperspace, which we're familiar with from the beginning of the episode. And they go into, and Mando's like, we're going to a Mandalorian covert. This is how we've survived in exile. I'm familiar with exile. Bo-Katan says, you're my guest, but they live by the old ways, so keep your helmet on. And says, old ways. Sure, great. I can't wait. And they fly in, land outside the cave that we're familiar with. And this bigger bully that we've I think we've seen from the first season, who has like an industrial backpack, like some sort of like industrial jetpack, like construction level. He's there to not greet them. Mando stands, looks over. Bully throws away like a gum wrapper on the ground. I said, what kind of covert are you running, man? Did you just throw your garbage on the ground? Like, that is not the way. I'll tell you, I'm not familiar with the way, but I'll tell you what, throwing your garbage on the ground is not the way. And if I didn't dislike the way you talk to them, I'd probably feel like, but I say, I don't appreciate the way you just threw garbage on the ground. His name's Paz something. He goes, you're apostate, Ninjarin. Not anymore. Been to Mandalore in the mines. Took a bath. Nope, you didn't. There's no mines. Planet's cursed. That's not true, Mandalorian says. But how do we know? You're probably lying. Bo-Katan says, I was there. He goes, who are you, Night Owl? And she kind of turns her head. She like walks towards him. Bo-Katan. Oh, well, no, your house fell from the way, so you're both apostates. Mandalorian says, we've been to the living waters. Mandalorian's so matter of fact. Everybody shares a look. Everybody there's out to see it because, it's boring there. He goes, I got proof. And no, baby Grogu's between the two of them. or Grogu, not Baby Oso, Grogu. Riz Vasala or something. So they walk past, they stroll in, and then every single Mandalorian, except for the ones that were higher up, like follow. They're like, holy cow, this is going to be good, man. We've been so bored. Just been being in a covert, being covert in a covert is not fun. Other than the baptism, we got nothing going on. So they go into the armorer's room, and Bo-Katan's kind of looking around in disbelief, sees the forge. The armorer's like, Din Djarin. Oh, no, first the guy tells him, he says he took a bath, but I don't believe it. The armor says, is it true? Yeah, I got proof. He hands up his tube. Armor turns around. Okay, I'll take that. Bo-Katan says, I was a witness. He fell into the depths. I pulled him out. So that is important, I guess, because he got, maybe, I got a good feeling about Bo-Katan, but, it could be leading us that way. I have no, future info, but, okay, so the armor tests waters. Yeah, it's the truth. This is the real stuff. They both took a bath in the living waters. Din Djarin, you are redeemed. This is the way. Everybody says this is the way. And this is Bo-Katan Kryze. By creed, you too are redeemed. And Bo-Katan says, I don't walk the way. And says, have you taken off your helmet since your bath? No. Okay, then by creed, you are a Mandalorian again. You may join our covert and live as your ancestors once did. And you can leave anytime you want. But until then, you're one of us. Welcome, Bo-Katan. This is the way. This is the way. And everybody claps Bo-Katan and Mandalorian on shoulders, except for that one dude. He stands back, maybe a couple other bullies. But most people are like, hey, welcome back. Good to have you. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the covert. Hopefully, and then we get a view of the mythosaur symbol. And Bo-Katan almost looking a little confused inside a helmet. And the episode comes to an end. A great episode. Great performance. Oh, wait, I forgot. So first painting is 3 interceptors in the castle. Then Mando at the rear cannon thing. Then 4 TIE fighters chasing Bo-Katan's ship. That's 3. Then like a cityscape shot with the opera house. Then the opera house kind of closer, like with the crowds and a taxi. Then Pershing getting an interview. I think there was 13 or 14. Then cubicles, we're a place where Pershing works. Then the train, or the subway train, Then the shipyards, looking very organized, above shot of the shipyards. Above shot of the shipyards. Then the lab they discovered. And then Pershing getting busted, in the moment. Then Pershing going through and saying, hey, listen to this music. It'll make you feel better. Then outside the covert after Bo-Katan lands with the bully, maybe up front, I don't know. And that's it. That's the end of the episode. So we'll be back. Good news is, too, this is when I recorded the night before episode 4 comes out. So I'm excited. I'm staying on pace right now. Thanks and good night, everybody. I want to thank some people that became patrons recently. John, Elizabeth, and Hollis. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Nina, Nirmona, and Priya. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Kennedy, Ashley, and Lauren. Thanks, and good night. Stephen, Andy, and Jose. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Ruth, CP, and Tyler. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Sabine, Terry, Thank you. Thanks. Good night. And Alicia and Tamara. Thank you. Thanks. Good night. Thanks everybody for supporting the show. Couldn't do without you. People support the show directly or support the show on Patreon. And we grow the show by spreading the word, which is free. Just let one person know about the podcast. It's a huge help. And this helps the show grow, helps new people find the show. You don't even have to tell people about Sleep With Me. You can just tell them about podcasts in general that you like and what podcast app you use, how easy it is, like soft sell them, then check in. Sometimes it does take a couple of tries. So anyway, that's it. Thank you so much. We've added over 500 something episodes in the archives, thanks to either this Tuck You In sponsor or just Scoots asking for support. Thanks and good night, everybody.